mother fluffers, choo-choo. So...
I want that to be like my text tone or something. Every time I just get a text, choo-choo, mother fluffers, choo-choo.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
great.
so, story that I just told was going back to the traveling episode. I was going to tell this. So I was traveling to Italy. I was on a plane full of other students because it was like a musical. Well, it wasn't we weren't doing a musical. It was a band like tour. So we were going on a plane over to Italy, and then this one girl, by the way, super annoying. That was a burp. Super annoying. She's staring out the window and she's like, "Oh my God, look, it's the Alps." And they're like, "What, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's the Alps." And I was like, first of all, we are nowhere near the Alps. We're in like Spain, if we're even there yet. Second of all, there were clouds. Like, and also, why would the tops of mountains be above our plane?
That's bad.
Why would we be flying through a valley of mountains? Honestly, it made me so sad. I was like, should I correct them or should I just let them be dumb together? I let them be dumb, if you were wondering, because it was more entertaining than saddening, but it was still pretty tough to hear.
In all honesty, the only way that could probably be worse is if she said the wrong mountain range. Like she said,
I
like the
know,
Andes or Himalayas or something like that.
I know, that would have been amazing, but yeah, at least she knew it was in Europe. But like, wow, yeah, no,
That was. Eee.
yeah. So that's a throwback to the traveling episode, so very long ago.
Very long.
Um, but this episode is vacations.
Yep, that's right.
Similar,
We're kind of continuing the. We started off with the trip to the vacation. Now we're at the destination.
yeah. So, which vacation would you like to bring up first? I'll let you go.
Oh god, bad decision. So many good ones.
Such as,
There was a time I tried to do a handstand while tubing, but that didn't work out too well.
a handstand while tubing.
Yes.
How so?
So,
Describe the scene to us.
all right. On a lake.
Dark and stormy.
No, bright and
Halloween
sunny.
night.
No, it was August actually,
Okay.
and we rented a boat for the day.
Right.
Attached to the boat is a tube, a couple yards or so back,
Okay.
and it's like one you lay on, like stomach for like down,
Yes.
and it's just like kind of pretty much just like a flat surfacey with handles and stuff.
Right.
And as we're like, it's my turn, I'm going. It's like, ooh, sharp turn, and I have this unbelievable urge in just life in general to go, I wonder how this would turn out. Better try it. You know from experience of hanging out with me that it's true.
It's unfortunate.
So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what happens if I stand up? Stood up, like, and I was like, alright. That's easy stuff. What would be more fun and crazy? And I'm like, a handstand. Now, backstory about me, I can't do handstands normally.
Yeah, I was gonna say. But, well, so you're trying to do a handstand.
I'm trying to do a handstand
on a moving tube.
on a moving
being
tube.
pulled by a boat.
Yes.
I'm impressed, first of all, that you could stand on it, like, without a problem.
Yeah.
That's
Took me
pretty,
a couple
that's pretty
tries,
impressive. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, a handstand on a tube, going through water, being pulled by a boat. If you pulled it off, that'd be pretty amazing. But I'm gonna assume that is not the route the story is taking.
Honestly, it probably not taking the route you also think it might be taking.
I can't wait to hear what it is.
Basically, so I'm like I'm trying, like I'm getting my feet like halfway up, and I keep like not having enough balance or whatever, as you would expect.
Right.
So instead of me failing horribly, or me succeeding, my aunt kind of just killed the boat, and she's just like, "What are you trying to do?" And I'm just like, "A handstand," like perfectly casual, like it's an everyday conversation. And she's just like, "Think about it. We're moving pretty fast. If you fall forward and land on that rope, what would happen?" And I'm just like, "I would hit my oh," and then it was processing to me. I could actually hurt myself. And
Yeah.
my aunt really didn't want to do that because there was no recording device on the boat to just be like, because like my parents would like, because my parents weren't on the boat at the time, and they just be like, "How did Kevin hurt?" And then my aunt probably would have been on the lines of, "Your son's an idiot," and showed him a video of me just racking my nuts on a moving tube, and that's how it ended.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
that ending. I also like the question. I don't know if many people caught it. How did Kevin hurt?
Did I really say?
He's, you said, quote from your parents, how did Kevin hurt?
Did I really say that?
You actually said, how did Kevin hurt? And
Here's a hint that no,
it was
little
really
people
hard
picked it
not
up.
to laugh about.
I didn't even pick it up, and I was speaking it.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, no, that's interesting. That would have been a fun ending to that story. If
Yeah.
you had actually lost
If
a
Kevin
testicle
did hurt.
trying to do a handstand on a moving tube.
Honestly, for the story, it might have been worth it.
I don't think so, but I'm
All
glad
right.
you think that one story you can tell one time is worth a testicle.
Maybe I'll try it again.
Maybe you should. Maybe you'll have a you'll have a follow-up story and be like, but then I tried it again and it worked. I did lose a testicle.
I accidentally castrated myself.
Yeah, that would be exciting. That'd be a great story, honestly.
Okay,
Like if you ever
maybe in a couple episodes from now, I'll have that story for you.
yeah, if you want a discussion topic, like you're meeting a new group of people or something, be like, everybody tell a fun fact. Kevin, what's your fun fact? I castrated myself with a tube and a rope. And they'll be like, all right, next person.
When you said discussion topics, instead of continuing like what you were actually saying, in my head, I just remembered the like test recording that we kind of did.
Oh, I know.
Going at like
Oh, I know.
with the windows down, pretty fast on the road,
Oh,
seeing if like
yeah.
it would work. And some of the conversation starters on that
Oh, I know. I remember. It'll be an episode one day.
one day. We have the recording. All that just needs to happen is we need to make it an episode.
It's true. But yeah. So that's fascinating castration story. And where was that? Where was this vacation?
Lake George, New York.
Lake George, New York. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any fun vacation stories?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think like what one to tell. I can't talk castration. That's a fact already. Like I can't really beat that one. I have plenty of stories. I mean, we have some stories from Costa Rica that I'm sure
I'm
we'll...
trying to save those for a bit, so kind of like the second half of the episode, we could just.
No, I wasn't gonna do it. I was actually gonna let you have those. Like, if you had any stories from Costa Rica, you could do those. Because I've been to other places that I could probably tell about.
Because I'm like, with the Costa Rica ones, we'll probably bounce off each other very well, like
Yeah,
back and forth with
We'll
that
do
instead
like
of
a-
just get like one person talking and they'll go, yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's usually my job.
yeah,
To go, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But anyways, so trying to think like what place I could think of to tell a story about. Probably, honestly, Australia had the most stories I could take. Australia and New Zealand, because we went from New Zealand. I mentioned this in the last one. Went from New Zealand, stayed there for a bit, and then we went over to Australia and we did a tour of like the East Coast. So we went from Sydney up to Cairns, which is like the northeasternmost part of Australia. And like there were so many different things we did there. Like in New Zealand, we jumped off of the tallest building in New Zealand. I don't remember how tall it is. You can probably look it up.
I've seen like videos and like stuff of other people doing it, so
Yeah, so
I'm pretty sure it's really tall.
yeah, I did that. I don't remember how old I was.
Yeah, like
Um,
roughly how long ago was this?
I was probably close to about like 10, somewhere around there. Between the ages of 8 and 12, I'll say, because I
All
really
right, fair
don't
enough.
remember when exactly we went. But yeah, so we went on that, and like there are two things you could have done. You could walk around the top of it with like a little cable attached to yourself, or you could do like a bungee jump thing. The thing was, it wasn't entirely bungee jumping because you didn't bounce
It was
back up.
basically vertical slip, that zip lining.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's like they could control it so you wouldn't obviously just fall to your
Yeah.
death. So they could like slow down the ropes and things, but at the same time, like the majority of it is a free fall. So like we did that. We did it the first time, and it was pretty insane. Like
Oh yeah.
when you're standing on the edge of it, like when you're about to jump, first of all, you have to hold on to two bars at the side of you, have your feet like basically half off of the ledge, and then the person who's like your guide or whatever, not really guide, but just like person in charge of everything, they push you in the back so that your like body starts to arch and you're basically leaning over the edge
Hmm.
of it so that when you let go, you only fall. Like you can't jump back or you can't like hang on and like pull yourself back. As soon as you like slip,
You're
you
dead.
you fall. So that was a little nerve-wracking, but like I was going to
Oh yeah.
jump anyways, but it was just the fact that they were basically pushing me off of it that it was like, okay.
That made me think of a Costa Rica story.
I know, I thought it would. But yeah, we did that, and then like the landing platform is literally a giant bullseye.
Hmm. That's
I know
that's
it's
the only way to do it.
yeah, right. It was really cool. So we landed like that. My sister and I did it. And then once we made it to the bottom, the people in charge were like, "You guys want to go again?" And we're like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, you want to go like another time?" We're like, "Do you have to pay for another one?" And they're like, "No, I mean it looked like you guys had fun, so you want to like try again?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." Because I think honestly, what they did was they took like multiple pictures of us because we were like fairly young to more for like advertisement and things like
Hmm.
that. So like use our pictures on commercials to be like even kids do it or whatever. So they
And
gave
then
us that.
there's little like 10-year-old you.
Yeah, who
Ladies
knows?
and
I might have
gentlemen.
been in like New Zealand commercials or like billboards or whatever. But yeah, it was super cool because they were just like, yeah, second round for free, and I did. I jumped off it again. It was awesome.
Nice.
And there's also for some reason this story is sticking out in my head. When I was in Australia, we did this when we were in Cairns, which is the oldest rainforest in the world. Fun fact.
Huh.
Yeah, is in
Well,
northeastern Australia.
look at this episode, Castpod. I'm learning.
Right? So we go there and we did a rainforest tour um, with our tour guide Clayton. Shout out to Clayton because he was,
Clayton.
yeah, literally like not exactly like the Tarzan Clayton. He was a little cooler than that, but like he was amazing. Like he was the best tour guide ever. Um, One of the things that we did was, uh, well, first of all, this trip, like, it was an amazing rainforest trip, but at the same time, I just did everything wrong. But it wasn't like they told me beforehand.
How did you do everything wrong if they didn't tell you?
Exactly. I was the example. So I would do something, and then he would be like, oh, yeah, by the way, don't do that. So, first thing we do, we stop off in like the middle of this random field surrounded by paddy melons, which are a type of kangaroo that are really tiny.
No,
Another fun fact.
when you say really tiny, we talking like wallaby size?
Smaller than a wallaby.
Really?
Yes. Called patamelons.
Catamount.
Yeah. So, fun fact. But we stopped off in the middle of this field surrounded by patamelons, and we find this little like um, ant mound.
Mm-hmm.
And he said like these ants are actually like good to eat. So
You ate one, didn't you?
yeah, everybody did.
Okay.
So we all picked up an ant, and he was like, you can eat it or you can lick it because it's supposed to taste like a lemon. So then I lick it, and it was like a real like the sharpest lemon I have ever had.
You
Cause I
do
just
like lemons.
I do. But like I licked it and it was just like so sharp. And I was like, oh god, it's gross. And everybody else was like, oh yeah, it does kind of taste like lemons. Like they were totally fine. I was like, what? Like why is nobody else like reacting like I am? And they were like, oh, did you lick it with the tip of your tongue? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh no, I'll be really sensitive if you do that. And I was like, okay, that's great. So then moving on, there were like 3 or 4 instances of like, oh yeah, don't do that. So then the next time was we were actually in the rainforest this time, and like we're going along this path, and I'm like right behind the tour guide because I always like to be near the tour guide because you see the things the fastest when you're right there.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're going along, it's getting kind of dark, and suddenly I just like slide off the path because like half of the path had been like eroded by water. I just like slide down this hill. It wasn't very far. It was just like a couple feet, but I like did a decent slide. So then he's like, "Oh, you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." He turns around to everybody else. Yeah, it's wet and slippery around here. So like, be careful, especially around this ledge that we just passed. And I was like, "Cool." Next thing, there's this plant called a wait a while. Right?
A what?
It's called a wait a while.
How long is it going to take for you to tell me?
It's gonna be a while. So it's basically big vines with lots of thorns on them. They're called wait a whiles because if you get stuck in them, you're gonna be there for a while trying to take all these thorns out of you. I was one of the people who got stuck in a bunch of wait a whiles. So I was walking along, and I realized I can't move because there's these vines stuck to my socks and shoes. So I'm like, oh, hold on, I'm like stuck in these vines. And then he walks over and he's like, all right, everybody gather around here. These vines are called wait a whiles, and they get their name, and did the whole spiel. And I'm like, you couldn't have said, watch out for thorny vines that may be on the ground. And the final one was, after I did that, I noticed a little thing on my leg, this little like slug looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pull it off myself. It's a leech.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh god, is this a leech? And then he's like, yeah, we have a lot of leeches. I should probably tell the group about that. And I was like, can you just tell me? Like, for once, tell me what is happening in this forest before it happens to me? Because I'm gonna die here today.
This whole time, I remember the Animaniacs have a little like segment where it's like, good idea, bad idea. You are the bad idea in all the situations.
Imagine the video of Stand By Me, sung by Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Where Timon's just singing along, having a great time, and everything that could go wrong does go wrong to Pumbaa.
Yeah.
If you know that video, it's spot on, because literally that is what was happening.
That's literally what you're describing for you.
Yeah. It was still a fantastic trip.
Oh, I'm sure. But like, you just couldn't seem to do anything right.
Everything was just happening to me, and I was just the example for the group of, oh yeah, about that. So yeah.
It's just, I can just imagine you just slowly getting angrier and angrier over time about how it's like, why didn't you tell me this stuff?
I know, I was just kind of like, how do you forget all of this? Right? And like, I'm the youngest one there too. It's all just happening to me, and be like, oh, haha, poor kid, and be like, no, fudge you.
That little scamp.
Right? But yeah, that was tons of fun.
I really want to go to, like, Australia and New Zealand is somewhere I would want to go to.
It is really crazy. I also climbed a bridge there, the Sydney Bridge.
Like, to the top of the, like...
Yeah, like the very top of the thing. That was a fun time. Yeah, it was in Sydney. Sydney was crazy, because I thought it would just be like a city, like a normal, like, oh, it's just a big city or whatever. Oh, there's the Opera House. But, like, no, we climbed the bridge, which was awesome. Like, we climbed all the way to the top in these cool little suits, and, like, had to climb through all this scaffolding, whatever. There was also the botanical gardens, and when I hear botanical gardens, I always get bored, right? Because I think of, it's literally just a bunch of plants. And he's checking the time. Clearly, I'm wasting too much of his.
No, I'm seeing the percent of my phone.
Oh, sure. He's getting bored of my stories. I see how it is.
No. All right,
Just because I was talking about...
It's the botanical garden.
Exactly, botanical gardens. They're boring.
I'm just like, let's wrap this up already.
Yeah, I can tell. Even though we're 20 minutes in, you're going to have to sit through 40 minutes more of botanical gardens, all right?
I quit.
So, botanical gardens, we're out there. I think it's going to be boring because it just sounds like a bunch of plants and flowers.
Yeah, but then, that's what I usually think. But you said
Right.
bridge.
Yes, there's a bridge.
And for some reason, like, the way that I'm interpreting this, there's a botanical garden on the bridge.
No.
Okay, then I don't know what I'm thinking of.
A botanical garden on a bridge?
No,
Are
it's
you
Australia.
serious? It's literally a road over water. There's going to be a botanical garden. There's going to be a parking lot for people to stop and go into a botanical garden. They're going to be able to grow plants on, like, iron scaffolding.
So you're at a botanical garden.
I'm at a botanical garden, not on a bridge. Near the bridge, but not on the bridge. And what I realized was, this place was just, like, full of awesome animals. Like, there were lorikeets, which are, like, the brightly colored little parrots. And they're
like,
also...
you always, like, feed them in zoos and stuff like that.
Yeah, and, like, they would just come land on people, because, like, all the animals there are fed so much that, like...
That they just associate people with food.
Yeah, so, like, all you'd have to do is, like, stick out your arm, and then just things would come land on it. And a lot of the things that would come land on you are the sulfur-crested cockatoos.
Ooh.
These wild things. And, like, they're big birds, like, if you've never actually seen them in person. And, like, so, yeah, you just stick out your arm, they'd land on it, but they would expect food. So unless you have food, don't do that.
Don't stick out your arm.
Even if you don't even stick out your arm, they'll probably still, like, land on your head. And those guys can bite.
Oh.
Like, I got bit by a couple of them, and it was not a fun time. Like, I literally, like, would put my hand in my sleeve to, like, avoid getting bit. They would just stick their head right in there and nip my fingers, and I would be like, fudge you. And it was really annoying. But, like, there were so many cool things there, and there was also... The trees are full of bats. Like, all the trees, like, if
like
you...
fruit bats?
Fruit bats.
Okay.
Flying foxes. So they're the big bats.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really big bats. And, like...
It's
pretty
clear
much,
that they're
it's pretty much close to the size of, like, a cat. Like, a small cat. And they, like, you wouldn't notice it unless you looked up into the trees and really looked. But, like, once you see the first one...
You see them all.
Every tree is just full of these massive bats. And, like, when it came down to, like, dusk, and they all started... It was a swarm that went across the sky. It was, like, just beautiful to see all these, like, massive bats. It was so cool.
It's actually really cool.
Right? Yeah.
Because, like, I've seen videos of, like, crazy, like, colonies of bats flying.
Yeah, you literally saw that.
It's just basically, like, a swarm of flies, but bigger.
Yeah.
And more screechy.
A whole lot bigger. But yeah, and it was literally, like, in the middle of a city.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, like, really, really cool.
That's super awesome.
But please, tell us a vacation story from your perspective.
Well, before I get to a vacation story...
I have something else.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a quick little annotation.
Right.
When you were talking about the Sydney Opera House,
Good
like
word,
how...
by the way. Annotation.
Thank
I like
you.
it.
I try so hard.
I don't actually know if it fits,
I'm not sure either.
but I'm gonna let you have it.
Thank you. But hopefully Kevin grammared right. If not, I will be corrected on it eventually.
Yep.
But the Sydney Opera House, you know how it's all like bented and
All wavy and
tilted
weird, yeah.
like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in the episode of The Simpsons, they had a big rectangular building. I forget what it was for. It was either, for some reason, I'm thinking stadium, prison, or opera house of their own.
Uh-huh.
Someone got behind like a wrecking ball, and it was like stereotypical cartoon wrecking ball where it just managed to hit like every single part of the opera house at like of the building, like each like no matter what angle, and it's like even though it seems impossible and stuff, and it basically formed the Sydney Opera House, and I don't know, like. I don't know why that sticks out to me, but I thought it was super funny at the time. It's like,
That is
oh,
pretty
look at
funny.
this square building. And it's just like, bang, bang, dent, dent. And it's just like, It's the Sydney Opera House. Hilarious.
See, I thought you were gonna mention the Australia episode, which is honestly one of my favorite episodes ever of The Simpsons. Like one of the funniest episodes I've ever seen, especially with the Crocodile Dundee reference. Do you remember that? Do you remember the episode I'm talking about? Awkward silence.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. No, it's more of like the super old computer modem starting up.
I can't make that sound with
know.
my mouth.
Go on.
I'm gonna take that as a no then.
No.
Okay, alright. So, well, you know Crocodile Dundee.
Yes.
You know that one scene where he gets mugged? Like a guy comes up to him and his lady friend, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna mug you," and he has this little like pocket knife, and then Crocodile Dundee is like, "That's not a knife. This is a knife," and he whips out this like machete. Yeah. So they did a they did a spoof of that. They were in an Australian like pub, and then they were just like eating dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like Marge. She just like had her knife, or she was just like, "Oh, can you pass me a knife?" It gives her a little like dining knife. This Australian dude walks up and he's like, "That's not a knife. This is a knife." He pulls out a spoon.
I thought I knew. I thought I remembered, but I didn't remember.
And then Marge just goes, "That's a spoon." And then he's like, "Oh, I've seen you've played knifey spoony before." I don't know why it's so fun.
Knifey spoony.
You have no idea how much that is referenced in my household. How many times someone will be like, "That's not a knife. This is a knife," holding a spoon.
I'm going to do that next chance I get.
You've played knifey spoony before. Oh my god, it was so funny. Honestly, if you've never seen that episode, please look it up. It is hilarious.
The knifey spoony part,
right? It's amazing. Oh my god.
That's classic Simpsons.
It really is. But yeah, so I think it's your time to tell us
Alright.
a vacation story.
So, you were talking about being pushed off a building, stuff like that.
Yes, alright, I know this.
I remember when we went to Costa Rica,
we did
a zip lining tour.
We did that one time.
Yes. And there's like a big Tarzan swing at the end.
Right.
And first off, we're all like high school age and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And some people already chickened out and were like kind of staring at this bridge. Like it was basically a bridge that led to nowhere.
It was only big enough for one person, and like a skinny person at that.
Yeah.
Like it was so thin, and it stretched out so far, like over this cliff, basically.
And
that like we didn't even know like for sure
we
entirely
weren't
what
sure
was
actually
like what was at the end. It was just like we all kind of like stood in a group and were like, should we just like should we go? Should we walk down it like one at a time or like yeah.
Yeah, and I remember first off, these two little kids went in front of us.
I remember.
And these kids are like 5 at the oldest.
They were really young.
They jumped off with they did the whole like giant Tarzan swing with no repercussions.
Well, one came back. I remember one came back, and they were oh no, I can't.
The one that did it was like super young, and we're just like, he's just like, yeah, I've done this before, and we're all like, of course we're all like older, and we're like, oh, you did? How awesome are you? And stuff like that, like trying to like it's like yeah, it's cool, because we're older and we like to make kids feel cool, and then the kid actually did it, and then we're just like, holy crap!
Yeah. I do remember the one kid like went about halfway and then came back. He was scared, but it was scary.
Yeah, I remember you went first.
I did,
and you kind of like 1 second you're at the edge of the bridge, and then the next second you're kind of gone.
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh geez.
It was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Like you didn't realize how much of a drop it was until like you started falling, and you're like, I'm still going, like I'm still free falling right now.
Then it was like because it was pretty much my turn right after yours.
Yep.
And I'm going out there, and like I'm lining up, like and doing all the stuff, and then the guys are like talking to me, and there's these two guys at the end that like hook you up and stuff because
Mm-hmm.
they could do it right and we can't, and totally make sense.
Right.
And the guys are just like talking to me and like just about basic stuff. It's like, oh, you enjoy the zip line? And it's like, oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's like, have you been ziplining before? I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like to go. It's like, try to go really fast, but sometimes you can.
Mm.
And he's like, okay, he's basically like, okay, bye. And then I'm like, wait, what? And he basically like, you know how they had your hand, like their hand behind you and pushed you off?
Yeah, I know.
Like, here I am having in the middle of a conversation with this guy, and then I just basically get pushed off of this thing into the giant Tarzan swing, and I'm like screaming like, holy crap, because for some reason there was a tree in the distance, and I was just like, oh my god, tree. And I'm like, I know I'm not going to hit it, but I
Yeah.
decided to scream it anyway.
No, I know. I remembered that tree.
And
I
then-
remember that exact tree, and I was like, wow, that's really close. Like, I felt like George of the Jungle
Yeah.
for about a second.
And then as the thing went on, I was starting to get angry. It's like, you just kicked me off during the middle of our conversation.
I know, you were really upset about it.
Yeah.
You
Rude.
you have said it multiple times. You're like, I was just like, what's happening now? And he's like, this, and he just pushes you off.
Rude.
Yeah, I know. You were upset by it. But there was also another girl who accidentally let go of the rope, and it sprung back in her face.
Oh, yeah.
She was not happy about that.
No.
But it's like, you gotta
You
get a
kinda
better,
just gotta-
you gotta get a better grip on it, honestly.
Mhm.
Also, that reminds me that like the whole thing, most zip lines, they have like some way of slowing you down, right? There's like there's a padded wall at the end that you kind of hit, or like the one I went to in Hawaii, they had ramps, so it was like
Yeah.
you kind of like ran up the ramp to like
Yeah,
slow yourself down.
That's the kinds I've been on before. Like,
The one in Costa Rica, the way you slowed yourself down is they gave you a really thick glove,
yeah.
and they told you to just grab the cable behind you to slow yourself down.
Yeah. I mean, I was iffy on actually slowing myself down. But
I mean, if you didn't, you would hit like
True.
wood and
See,
posts.
I always basically did the equivalent of slamming on the brakes because I did not want to stop like halfway through the zip line.
Well, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't do it like halfway through, but like when you see
Mhm.
you're getting to the end, obviously you would put it on. But just the fact that that is how you actually
Yeah.
did it, I never realized it until like actually a couple weeks ago. Was when somebody was saying how they had also been to Costa Rica, and they were like, did they also give you just like this massive like heavy duty glove to slow yourself down? And I was like, yeah. And they're like,
Why?
isn't that insane? Like, because I never thought about it. Most zip lines, they don't make you slow yourself down with just like a big old beat up glove. And I was
No.
like, actually, yeah, that is kind of weird.
It's just like, wait a second.
Yeah, that was just kind of like, oh.
It might just be
Yeah.
a country thing though too, because
I mean, it is, because basically every zip line I've ever been to has been slightly different. There's
Yeah.
been padded walls, there's the ramp, there's the
I've
glove.
seen both. I haven't seen the glove in Costa Rica, but I haven't seen like I've done some here, and I haven't seen like the padded glove. I've always seen like ramps and padded walls and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I know. That's what Costa Rica's was, the glove. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ziplining is a lot of fun though.
It really is. It's a great time if you ever get a chance to do it.
Honestly, one of my favorite parts about it is the noise. It's like the zzz,
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
and it's just like woo.
Yeah, doing it in Hawaii was pretty cool because we actually did it in the forest where, if you've seen Jurassic World,
Ah,
that scene where Chris Pratt is on a motorcycle driving with his velociraptors, it's in that exact forest.
that's awesome.
It was super cool. And we were also, on the other side of the island where this canyon is the canyon that they land their helicopter in the first movie.
I really wanted, like, when you sent, like, showed pictures of that or whatever, I really wanted to go there.
It was amazing. Like, it was just crazy. Like, it was such a good trip. honestly.
Please tell me you were singing the theme song in at least your head, if not out loud.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Good.
Like the amount of references we made to Jurassic Park was insane. Because it really was like it's where they shot Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It was like you could just like see like oh yeah those look like the trees whatever. But yeah, Hawaii is an incredible place. Like just the forests and just like the volcanoes, the ocean, and all like the snorkeling and things like that. It's really crazy.
Yeah, Hawaii's got like it's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like if you think of stereotypical like warm climates and stuff,
Yeah.
Hawaii's got a little bit of everything from those.
Yeah. And it's still a part of the U.S.
Yay.
So like you
State
can
number 50.
50.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say a number after it, and I was like, no, 50 states.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, because I've almost made that mistake in the past, or I've been like, how many states? 51. I always want to say 51 for some reason.
Puerto Rico's not a state.
No, but it's close.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Just combine the Dakotas.
Get 49.
Combine the Dakotas and make Puerto Rico state. That way we don't have to spend a lot of money making new flags.
What about North and South Carolina?
They're pretty different.
What about Virginia and West Virginia? Why is it not East
I
Virginia?
don't know. See,
What is the deal with
Alright.
West Virginia?
but that's the thing is like there's a North Dakota and a South Dakota. There's a North Carolina, South Carolina. There's a West Virginia
And a Virginia.
and Virginia.
It's kind of like its illegitimate cousin.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, I'm Virginia. Nice to meet you. And then it's like, yeah, and I'm West Virginia. And they're like,
It's kind of
what?
like us starting like this cast pod.
Right.
Like Nick and Carter are just like, we're gonna have a podcast called The Podcast. So we're kind of like, oh yeah, well we're gonna have Cast Pod.
It really is kind of like that.
That'll
honestly.
show you.
And this isn't sidetracking because I've actually been to West Virginia.
I've
It is
never-
a vacation spot, so I'm not.
I've never been to West Virginia, but I have thought of story about states.
Yeah, I'm not taking away from the subject of vacations. I did do a road trip from PA to. I think we ended in North Carolina, but yeah, we stayed in like Virginia, we stayed in West Virginia, and then North Carolina, and that was a really cool trip too, because like
Wasn't that like checking out colleges, or was that a different trip?
I think it was slightly different trip, because I did do a trip like that, or it might have been the same one. I don't know. We've done a couple trips down there, honestly, but we've been like to South Carolina and places like that a couple times. South Carolina is one of my favorite states, honestly. Really? Yeah.
I've never been there.
It's really, really cool. Because it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's hard to describe.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've been up and down the majority of the eastern seaboard, basically. Yeah. I think the only states I haven't been in are South Carolina and Georgia.
I've never been to Georgia. I don't think... I feel like my parents have been to Maine, but I've never actually been to Maine
either.
I know I've been to Vermont.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if I've been to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Sure.
But anyway, my state story is whatever.
Yeah.
On vacation, like every year going on vacation with the family, same people, same group of like cousins and such like that.
Right.
And at this one restaurant, we always have like paper placemats. And I don't remember how it started.
Right.
Probably because I was too little to remember how it started. But basically, all my cousins get a pen from somewhere and have a competition to see who could write all the 50 states. And that car's headlights are really bright.
Very bright. I was also going to mention how, once again, across the street, lights just turned out. It's 2:30 in the morning.
God dang it. These people are scoochy.
They are weird.
Spooky.
It also reminded me about how I was thinking. I'll let you finish your story, but it reminded me the other day about how I had this. I don't know why on earth I was thinking about this, but I was going over to a friend's house one time when I was in like very maybe middle school. It might have been like late elementary school. We're on our bikes and
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't remember his house, so we went through his neighborhood and we saw this lady outside and we're like, "Hey, do you know where this guy lives? His name's Jerry." And they're like, "No, no, I don't know." And we told them the last name, and they're like, "No, like it's an Asian family. Like they should live on the street." And she's like, "No, I have no idea." 2 houses down, I see this dude, and they're like, "Hey, do you know this guy Jerry?" And he was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "It's an Asian family." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go get him." And I was like, "What?" It was his dad. And I was like, "Yeah, you know these Asian people." But it made me think how, because when he came out, I was like, did you know that your neighbor has no idea who your family is? Like, it was literally his neighbor was like, no, I've never heard of them, or I've never seen, never seen an Asian family in this neighborhood. And it's like, it's literally next door. Like, and then I thought about how, actually, I don't know the last names of anybody in my vicinity, to the right, left, or front.
I I know the neighbor directly across the street from me, his last name, and then just a handful throughout my neighborhood. Cause
Like, I know the people to the left, because, I mean, I don't
like,
remember their last name off the top of my head, but I've known
yeah,
them for, like, years.
same with me. It's like I know the people to the side
Mm.
because I live on a corner. I know the people across, and I don't like. It's just a handful like of other families because I live in kind of like a
Yeah.
no outlet neighborhood, basically.
Well, the people to the right I don't know because it's been, like, 3 or 4 different families over the years. People across the street, never spoken to them in my life. Like, we see each other every once in a while, and we'll, like, wave or whatever. Never, ever actually spoken to them.
I feel like I might know who they are, but I also might have the house wrong.
Probably have the house wrong. Because if you're thinking of a family of kids that were like a
Like,
grade below,
yeah.
that's the next house down.
Okay.
Yeah, no, these people I have no idea who they are. The people behind us used to know also, but I think they also moved.
All right.
But yeah, I just realized how like, wow, I'm a sucky neighbor because I don't know any of my neighbors.
Yeah, you're a bad neighbor.
And the other neighbors I just don't like. Like 2 houses down, if you're listening to this,
Who?
your segue is so annoying.
They have a set. Like, are we talking like those like hoverboard?
No, like a legit segue.
That's pretty cool though.
No, it's not.
All right.
It's not. They also have a massive radio tower that they use to speak to people around the world just for the fun of it.
What?
You suck so much. I'd like, just, why? Why? Who does that?
I thought you were talking when you said you suck so much. I'm like, I've never noticed this. How can you be yelling at me for it?
I mean, I could still yell at you for it, but yeah, no, they have. You probably can't see it because it's 2:30 in the morning. But yeah, they have a massive, basically like, TV antenna times 300 in the backyard.
Slowly drive by their house, make it look like I'm gonna like burglarize them, trying to find this antenna.
Yeah.
Whenever we stop recording the clock.
They're pretty annoying. But anyways, you were telling a story.
So, game where we basically write down all the 50 states and stuff like that.
Yep. I couldn't do that.
My sister learned a song when she was young, so she was disqualified.
Yeah.
She's still butthurt about it. Oh well.
I mean, I could probably do states, but
Yeah.
I can't do capitals anymore.
I don't know, iffy. But I was like, over like the times I've been, like, I've gotten to a point where it's like, I can win most of the time.
Right.
And then the one, like, we kind of stopped doing it because we're all to the point where it's just like, we all know the
Because you
states.
all know the 50 states now.
Yes.
Let's do
But
European countries.
we're at the point where it's just like, let's do it. And then someone's like, spelling counts. And then I'm like, no, wrong.
Wow.
I can name all 50 states.
Just
Pretty much
can't-
no problem.
Can't spell them.
I can't spell them for the life of me.
Now name a state that you cannot spell.
Louisiana.
How would you spell it?
L-O-U... I'm trying to think, is it I-S or S-I?
I'm not gonna help you out here.
IS.
There you go.
IANA?
I'm pretty sure you got it.
Look at me, I'm smart.
But if you didn't, I look dumb. But then again, I wasn't actually like checking.
True.
I was just gonna kind of be like, "Yep, all right, yep."
Even if you were gonna agree with me no matter what, weren't you?
All right, Louisiana, Mississippi. I would have been like, "Yeah, I think you got it." But legitimately, I think you got it.
Nice. Look at me.
I was afraid you were gonna say like Pennsylvania, and I'm like, "You live here."
Yeah. Who would ever spell the state they live in wrong?
I mean, I believe it, but like, I just didn't know if that was the one you're actually gonna say. Maybe like Wisconsin
Can't spell that one either.
or Massachusetts.
I don't know about that one. That one's debatable.
That one sounds like honestly one of the hardest ones to spell. Massachusetts.
Yeah, true. Spelling California right would be kind of hard.
Or Connecticut.
Connecticut, that's a good one. Minnesota, I don't know.
I could do Minnesota. I mean, I can do pretty much all the states. But there was a time where I couldn't. I remember 8th grade, we actually had to do that. Spell out, like, certain states.
Mm-hmm.
And Connecticut was one that I spelled wrong because it's actually connect to cut. There's a C before that T.
Huh. Wouldn't have gotten it.
That also reminds me of when I had to spell, just like spelling in like elementary school, when we had those like spelling tests, we had to write them down in books and stuff. That was garbage. First of all, it was garbage not because I couldn't spell, because I could spell.
Oh, I can't spell.
But it was garbage because we had the students check each other, and they would call me out, not for my spelling, but because of my handwriting.
Aw.
And I have terrible handwriting.
You really do.
Shut up.
I'm enforcing your
kidding.
point.
I'm kidding. But, like, I mean, my handwriting's better. Like, better than it was in elementary school. But, like, one of the things I used to do, especially in these, like, spelling tests, was if I wrote the wrong letter, because sometimes my brain just goes too fast, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I do that a lot. Even today, like, I'll just be, like, typing or spelling, and
That's why I spell things wrong. My brain goes too fast.
Yeah, sure. Anyways, so I'll just, like, I'll be writing something, I just do the wrong letter because I'm, like, either my hand just kind of goes or my brain's, like, doing a couple letters in advance. So, like, one thing I would do is I wouldn't, like, erase it because I'm being timed. I would just write the other letter over it, like the one that I meant to do. So I would do that and just keep going.
Did you at least scribble it out?
No, because I didn't have time. I just wrote over it. And then people would be like, "Oh, you spelled this wrong." And I was like, "No, I wrote the letter over it." And they're like, "But I can see that other letter." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you can also see that I wrote over it in the time that we were spelling it." And they'd be like, "That's a point off." And I'd be like, "I will murder you." I was in 5th grade, and I will absolutely murder you. But yeah, I would get points off, and if I didn't get points off, I would be really close, like 100% on spelling, which is pretty impressive because some of the words are kind of hard. But they had the students check each other. They had a bunch of, like, nearly toddlers check each other's spelling. Like, what kind of trash is that?
I thought it helped me.
I hated it.
I always passed it to my friends. It was like, "Hey, buddy."
No, I always hated that when they're like, and then the person behind you is going to grade it, and be like, "No, you grade it. Do your job." I'm tired. I'm not going to give it to this person because they're going to be like, "Oh, well." And then when they do that thing where, like, they raise their hand when they have your paper, and they're like, does this count? And
that is the worst
you have to
feeling
turn around
ever.
and look at them and be like, "Really, dude? Really? You're going to call me out? Like, just give me the point. Like, fudge off. Like, either get..." I
That
wouldn't
is
even
the
care
worst moment
if they
ever.
took a point off or something. I'd be like, "You're going to call me out. You're going to give my answer to the rest of the class just to call me out."
Spelling would probably be the worst that it's in. Like, because if it's in math, it's just like, there's some super, like, bratty kids that I've had before. They might not grade my test, but I've heard them grade. It's like, the teacher will be like, "All right, the answer is, say, something like X equals 2.
Right.
And the teacher is one of those teachers that's like, "Make sure you write everything out," and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they'll, like, raise their hand, and they'll be like, does 2 count? And it's just like, not because they didn't write x equals 2.
It's just because they wrote straight up 2.
Because they just wrote straight up 2.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And usually the teacher, a good chunk of the time, is just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it
fine.
works. But sometimes it's just like if they don't ask the teacher and no one questions it, they'll mark it wrong. It's like, you didn't write it out. And
Yeah.
it's just like, it's 2!
Yeah, I hate those people.
I know this. But your whole spelling in elementary school tangent, I've thought about it. Some of the words I learned how to spell in elementary school, I'm not 100% sure if I could still spell correctly the first time.
I remember them distinctly.
Like I remember learning the word
words.
Like I remember learning the word special. I'm not 100% sure if I could spell special right the first time.
Spell special right now.
S-P... Crap, is it I or E?
I'm the teacher here.
S-P-E-I-C-A-L?
That is Speakle. Let me read it back to you. S-P-E-I-C-A-L.
Is that what I said?
Yes.
How do you spell it?
S-P-E-C-I-A-L.
Dang it.
Special. But that's okay, because we're not here to call each other out.
No.
Only on occasion. But I distinctly remember the words I got wrong, and I was like, I will never get this wrong again. And to this day, I even remember, like, the class that, like, we were doing it in. I remember the scene perfectly of getting it wrong and having one person, who I won't call out, but I have some major beef with them anyways, because fudge them.
I kind of want to know who it is.
Well, you might get it for me saying fudge them for getting the fudging volunteer award, because that crap should have gone to me. But anyways, they could spell everything perfectly in elementary school. They knew all the words, and they knew all the little tricks to spell these things, like neighborhood and people.
I still spell together, spelling it out to get her.
Yeah. But it was the 2 I remember distinctly from that specific person, who will not be named, are neighborhood and people. And they're like, oh, you just have to remember it as People. And to this day, still, in their voice, whenever I spell out the word people, I hear People, and it pisses me off, but also, I now know how to spell people thanks to that. But still,
You're, like...
fudge you.
Your spite of this person is hilarious.
So, like,
Because Calum usually, like, for other people, doesn't care too much.
No.
He's just like, oh, you do your thing about that, whatever. He's angry about this, and it's hilarious.
Because, like, I usually overreact just for, like, the reaction. Mm-hmm. But, like, I was legitimately mad when that whole thing happened. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And I just don't let it go. 1, because it's funny, but 2, because I just remember how I felt back then. And I was like, wow, I was pretty upset about that. But, yeah. So, People and neighborhood.
I remember this one girl, her name was Erica.
Also separate. I just want to point that out. The word separate, I never thought it would be that difficult to spell until I had to read a book called Separate Peace in...
I think that was a 9th grade book.
8th grade.
Never mind.
In 8th grade. And the teacher would call us out and be like, none of you know how to spell separate, and you just read a book called Separate Peace. She, like, flipped out. I was like, you need to calm down. She was an annoying teacher. But anyways, Erica.
Alright, so I remember we were learning how to spell America. And then this girl was like, thought it was like a big realization. And she's like, I know how to spell it. And the teachers, of course we were like younger, and the teacher's like, alright, like what's your little trick to spell it? And she's just like, I think of myself. And it's like, wow, narcissistic. Except I didn't know the word narcissistic.
Yeah, I would be like, wow.
I was like,
you somehow, like...
wow, you're Speakle.
like, somehow backtracked from elementary school.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you're Speakle. And then she's just like, am Erica.
Yeah.
America. Like, she made that connection. It was like the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, you're not Speakle.
She really isn't Speakle.
So remember when we were talking about vacations?
I do remember that. I mean, we went back with America. I've
Yeah.
been to America before.
Me too.
Nice place.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could probably talk about vacations. They'll probably come up in other conversations. So what I want to do is name, like, a place that you want to go on vacation.
My top 3 places that I can think of right now that I have no plans to go to, because I have plans to go a couple places,
Right.
is Australia, New Zealand, and Madagascar.
Oh my god.
The glove box just fell open because Calum didn't close it hard enough because he's playing with the lever to it, so it just kind of plopped down.
Yeah. It scared me.
It's like, and Madagascar, boom.
But yeah, Madagascar, good choice. I mean, all of those are good choices.
Oh yeah,
But Madagascar is also a place that I would like to go. Galapagos Islands.
Galapagos. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Idiot! I already made my top 3.
I know, you can't go back. You'll never be able to go now.
Dang.
It's a rule. That's just how it works. But yeah, Galapagos Islands is definitely a place. Madagascar, yes. I'm trying to think. I want to go to...
I kind of want to go to Antarctica too.
I mean...
It's not really for like a vacation. It's one of those things.
No,
that's
yeah,
like,
it's just
go
like
there so I could say I've been there.
Yeah, no. I mean, I had a chance to go there one time, but I was like, maybe not. But, yeah, that, and then I really want to go to Singapore.
Singapore.
Yes. Because it's actually a really cool place.
I've heard stories and stuff. It's like it's pretty cool, but it's also like weirdly strict.
Interesting burp.
Thank you.
But, no, it's just really cool. Like, the rainforest, the animals, because that's
Mhm.
obviously, like, a key factor in vacation, is, like, cool animal stuff. So, like, Singapore, I've heard, we almost planned to go there one year, but we went somewhere else. I think we actually went to Hawaii instead. But, like, that's just a place I really want to go to, because it's just so cool. And I've never been to any Asian countries, and, like, out of any of them, I think, like, that would be one of the coolest places to go, because China doesn't really interest me that much.
No, not really.
It's more kind of like you go just to say you've been to China,
Yeah.
or it's like for a language trip or whatever. It's just really not like Great Wall of China, cool. Everything else
Meh.
is just like pollution and
Really?
just like lots of crowded things, and just not like, it's more of like a, if you like cities, I guess that would be like a place to go. Same
If you like cities, Japan.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say next. Is like same with Japan, is like if you really like cities, yeah, but like doesn't interest me. So like a foresty kind of like real like Asian place. Would be, like,
Thailand would be
Singapore.
also really cool.
Thailand would also be cool. My mom and my sister are going to Thailand in like 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
I know.
And you're going to school.
I know. I could have gone if I wasn't going into school. So that's pretty sad. But yeah, I was gonna say that too. Is Thailand would be sweet. But yeah, somewhere like that. It's like
Like this. I want to go to like the Pacific Islands. Like
Yeah.
Borneo.
I want to go to Borneo. That's one I
Papua
wanted
New
to mention.
Guinea.
Yeah, that one. Like my family's been to Fiji before, but I don't think I was born yet. They've also been to
Fiji's cool.
Singapore, but it was just like a stopping off point on like their honeymoon or something. So like I've never been to any Asian countries. I've never been to
Neither
any
have I.
African countries.
Neither have I. I want to go to Africa.
Yeah, somewhere in Africa would be cool, like Kenya or something.
Mhm.
My, what is she? My aunt, but no longer my aunt because she's,
She was aunt by not blood.
yeah, she was, or my aunt, if you will.
Aunt.
But they got divorced, so we're not technically related, but I see her more than I see the blood relative. She lived in South Africa for a very long time,
That's
so
really cool.
yeah, hopefully one day we'll convince her to take us with her there, because she goes pretty often. She has a pet meerkat too.
What?
Yeah, she has a pet meerkat.
That's sweet.
I know, right? So obviously I have to go and meet her pet meerkat. But yeah,
Of course.
so those are vacation ideas that I think would be really cool. Because I've been to a lot of European countries.
Yeah, I've never been to Europe either, but also
It's
it
not.
doesn't interest me that much
Yeah.
because it's Europe.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. I mean,
No,
like,
I get it because
it's very city-esque. Like,
yeah, no, that's
outside
what
of
I
cities,
mean.
there's not too much.
Like if
And
you want to go for like animal stuff, adventure things, like
Europe's probably not the place.
Europe is not the place. Europe is still a great vacation spot. It's still
I'm
like
going there in December.
yeah, it's still a really
Yeah.
cool place because
I'm killing like two of them, like three things I want to do in Europe.
yeah,
It's like doing Ireland and Scotland. The only real reason I could see myself going back to Europe is for the Berlin Zoo.
really,
It's like the biggest zoo worldwide.
really,
Mhm.
I did not know that. I thought you were gonna say England because you're in that kind of general
Nah.
area, or Wales, but nobody goes to Wales.
And I was gonna say, who goes to Wales?
Nobody goes to Wales. It's a really weird area. A lot of people don't know it's a country.
I'm not even like I know it's on the side of England or something. I'm not even 100% sure where England ends and Wales begins. Like, I know
Wales is on the southwest corner of England.
it's like I know Ireland is. I know like roughly where Scotland starts.
Scotland's in the north.
Yeah, like compared to England, I have no like. If you like, I would not be able to identify Wales basically.
It's just the southwest corner of England. But yeah, nobody goes there because it's weird. They speak a whole nother language, and it's just, yeah. And most people don't know it's a country. Which is really funny. Like, I had a social studies teacher who was like, oh, Wales is a separate country? I never knew that. And I'm like, why are you teaching me?
Yeah, it's when you have to teach the teacher, it's a scary moment.
Yeah, I've had to do it a few times, and it's really kind of like... But also, I thought about it, like, think about people who are becoming teachers that, like, you may know in, like, high school or something.
Alright.
They're not, like, not to call out people who want to be teachers, because I'm sure that
I'm related to
know,
a couple.
you, like, have a passion for education, and, like, maybe you did do well in the classes you want to teach, but, like, if you're teaching, like, high school
I would say
and
8th grade
lower.
and up. Oh.
If you're teaching high school and lower, like, maybe not, like, specific classes like physics or whatever, but just kind of, like, classes like that, like, maybe, like, sophomore year below. Think about people who want to be teachers. They're not the top of the class.
No.
Like, they're really not, like, the studious people. The ones who are being grade school teachers. Some of them are. Like, high school level is, like, debatable, because it's, like, half and half. But, like...
I would say it depends how specific the class is.
Yeah, because, like, I know, like, some bio teachers will have, like, a PhD and they're teaching in high school. But, like, from, like, obviously kindergarten up to at least, like, 8th or 9th grade.
You could get away with anything.
The people who are going for that, they're not really the brightest.
Yeah.
And, like, not,
It's
like I'm saying, I'm not calling them out, but, like, they
Like,
didn't, like...
They don't have to... They're not required to, like, know super specific stuff.
Yeah, they're not experts in the stuff that they teach.
Yeah, like...
They just know how
when
to
you teach a specific class, you're experts in what you need to teach. Like, college professors and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, college professors, they don't have teaching degrees.
No, they're just masters.
They have degrees in...
the field.
Their subject. And then they're like, hey, do you want to teach this at school? And they're like, yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
People who are teachers in grade schools, they have teaching degrees, but no degrees in the stuff that they're teaching.
Yeah.
They take classes on how to teach and how to make curriculums.
But they don't.
But they don't learn, like, all right, let me give you a run-through of every subject ever.
All right. Here's the basis of... I remember I had a really bad pre-calc teacher in high school. But
he was actually great.
No, different teacher.
Oh, dang it.
That teacher, good guy. I didn't like him as a teacher.
Fantastic teacher.
But my pre-calc teacher, awful.
I'm trying to think who my pre-calc teacher was.
Bad. She barely taught anything. She gave a lot of worksheets. It was just rough.
What did her name start with?
I'll tell you in a second
Like what
because
letter?
we're running pretty high.
Oh,
For this
we're
episode.
at the end for vacation. But yeah, teachers. Not to call you out, but honestly, not a huge fan of great
Yeah,
teachers. Just from the amount of teachers that I know that like I've had that are really not like great at teaching, and also
yeah, that I've
people
had.
I know who are going for teaching degrees are just kind of like,
See, like you were in a lot of honors classes and stuff like that.
I was.
I was never in honors classes,
You were not.
and we're same major in school, by the way.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things where it's just like,
I like how you called that out.
I know. I just wanted everyone to know that you took all honors, I took no honors, and we're in the same major in college.
I mean, that doesn't really mean anything, though.
No, it doesn't. But anyway, some of the teachers I've had, like, they've had, like, lesser stuff to teach. Like, the math teachers would only teach half the courses, the honors class, and stuff like that. So they would pretty much, I would say, dumb it down, basically.
Yeah.
And when you get called out in one of those classes, that's when you're like, how good of a teacher are you really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, no offense, teachers, but
We like you and all, but some of you are really bad.
and that was Castpot about vacations, talking about teachers,
Vacations.
and I don't remember what else we talked about. All right.
Accidental circumcision. I mean, no. Castration. Wow, those are two completely different things.
Well, we're gonna
We
Talk
wasted
about
a
that.
lot of your
we're
time.
gonna talk about that another time. Yeah, we wasted enough of this one, but expect circumcision in the future, and have a lovely day. I didn't.